Dave, we're here at the workbench, and I'm not sure if I'm going to the dentist or
I got a lot of.
This might be dangerous.
I got a little tools that would work in a dentist's office because you're messing with little tiny stuff a lot of times when you're maintaining these reels. And if we're talking about maintaining them anyway, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you want to get stuff that's worth maintaining. You know, if you go to the aisle and get the most cheapest reel that you can get, that's pretty much a throwaway reel. No matter what you do to that reel, it's probably not going to last more than 3 or 4 trips, and especially in saltwater. Saltwater is a whole different animal. I choose to buy all my reels, freshwater and saltwater, or all saltwater reels. I don't have a difference because I've learned over the years that if I'm dumb enough to go throw my freshwater reel into the saltwater and don't rinse it properly, I might as well just thrown it in the garbage because they just can't take it. The saltwater it just ruins most of the stuff in those reels that aren't made for it. If they're not made for it, they're not going to last. So you want to make sure you got to spend probably at least $100 or more on a reel before it gets to the point where you want to start taking care of it real good. Now, if you're fishing in the saltwater, every trip, even if you've got really good reels, every trip you need to wash them down with fresh water.
That's what I use mine 6 or 7 days a week. So I'll lightly rinse them and rinse the rod off really nice, and then just wipe them down. And then every few weeks or so, if one's making some noise or it needs a little extra attention, then you can kind of get into it and do some other.
A lot of guys will spray them with stuff like this Reel Magic. They'll put a little spray on them.
I usually put this salt.
Yep, that's good stuff.
Great.
If anti-corrosive stuff, just get it to spray down. But once if you're going to go ahead and start taking it apart, I don't know if the fellas can see this, but I've got a little felt pad that I've got down here.
It's a great idea, yeah.
That a lot of guys will use a towel. Well, if you use a terry cloth towel, some of these screws are so small they will disappear into the terry cloth, and then you pick it up and then it springs away, and then you're chasing stuff. A felt pad works really great. The stuff doesn't go into it. You use a white towel. You can use a kitchen towel a lot of times because they don't have a real thick terry cloth on it, and the stuff won't bounce off of it. So this is a really good idea, and to get some masking tape and put down a nice. This is how the things came apart. 1, 2, your steps, and also nowadays we have a phone, which is great because you can take a picture of the thing as you're taking it apart. You
That's
can
such a good
picture, take a piece off. Take a picture, take a piece off.
The worst thing, you don't want to put a reel back together and have parts left over, which I've done before.
It happens to me all the time, and that's another thing right there.
Keep
your box with that your reel comes in. You're getting a nice reel. Keep the box that it comes in, and it comes with a schematic. It has all the parts, how they go on, and maybe even take a picture of that and put it in your phone before you start.
Not a bad idea.
So that's a good idea. Another good reason to keep your box is a lot of reels, including this one right here that I tried to start to take apart today. If you don't have the little hex tool that comes in the box, this actually has little hex screws all over it.
And it comes with the reels.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get into it unless you go to the store and buy a new one. So that's not going to work for you. So generally speaking, what you want to do is you want to get your regular tool set you're going to have. You're going to need a little Phillips screwdriver, usually a little flathead screwdriver. Any of these little tool kits work great.
Buy these in any little hardware shop.
Exactly. Those are always good for the little screws that aren't specialty screws. Main thing you're going to really want to get is a pair of tweezers. Either that or a really nice pair of needle nose pliers, because the little springs and stuff that you're starting to take this apart, they go flying away, and if you don't have the right tools, you're going to be screwed. I like to use these little Dentex picks instead of Q-tips, because these things you can scrub real good with them, and they don't leave little hairs all over everything, because then you wind up getting all the hairs in there, just like you're having to clean all the hairs that you're putting in there. So these work really good. Toothbrushes work good. I'm old, so I always It's always
I don't
good
need
to
one
have,
of those just yet.
It's always good to have a magnifying glass. Just remember a rule of thumb. Put grease on gears and put it at the base of the gears, and only use 1 drop of oil per bearing. When you're putting oil on all these bearings, 1 drop of oil per bearing, and you should be good.
That's good stuff, Dave.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
Wow, Dave, those were a lot of great life hacks right there.